months ago, I took my first real solo trip. Now let me qualify that a bit before we get started. I've traveled a lot by myself over the last 9 years, but that's all been business travel and all within North America. My world changed completely when I decided to turn my passion for traveling into a career and become a travel advisor. I learned that my previous all-inclusive resort and cruise travel was nice, but it was just scratching the surface of what is out there to do and experience. So I decided to do what I usually do with new things. I jumped right in and signed up for a trip to Jordan with G Adventures. I knew a little about the country after having 2 cruises canceled in 2020 and 2021 that included a day trip in Jordan. But a day trip from the safety of a cruise ship is a very different proposition from an immersive week traveling within the country. And yes, I know what you're thinking. If my immersive experience started with a flight in business class, it probably wasn't going to be that immersive. Honestly, I opted for business class flights because it was the longest flight that I'd ever taken before. And I also wanted to arrive rested and ready to go for this once-in-a-lifetime trip. At least, that was my plan. The Air Canada flight was great, but I didn't get much sleep because I was second-guessing everything. Here I was, a female, traveling alone, and to the Middle East. Every stereotype that I had seen on TV and in the movies came to mind. My head was spinning with questions. Would I be safe? Was I too old to do this kind of trip? Was I in good enough shape? Would I get along with others in the group? Would I get along with my roommates since I'd opted to be matched with another female? Thoughts of my horrible roommate experience from university flooded my mind. Did I pack the right things? What even were the right things? Would this be at the right pace for me? Would I fit in? What about the desert? Will I be safe there? Will there be regular bathroom breaks? 1,000 questions came to mind and left me tossing and turning in my lay-flat seat until it was finally time to land in Vienna. There I boarded the Austrian Airlines plane, still business class, even though the only difference was the color of the headrest cover and the curtain separating these seats from the rest. I slept for most of this flight and woke up to find that the rich greens of the Austrian landscape had been replaced by beiges and browns. I expected this, but it was still a very jarring reality. At this point, I couldn't have been more nervous or questioning my decision more. I kept thinking to myself how beautiful the new landscape was and that this was going to be a completely different experience from what I'd ever had before, and to just trust and go with it.
Dear guests, welcome to Roma. It's now 5 minutes past 3 o'clock p.m. On behalf of the entire crew, I would like to say goodbye to now. Thank you for choosing Austrian Airlines. Have a lovely stay. Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen.
First, there was customs and to get a visa for travel. The airport signs were in English and Arabic. I was relieved and reassured myself that this was in fact going to be just fine. I was then met by the driver that G had arranged to take me to the hotel. So far, so good. Wait, was that an armored car? Deep breath in, deep breath out. The drive to the hotel was only about half an hour and gave me a chance to get my first real look at this strange new land. It was beautiful and calm, but I was overwhelmed by the fact that the buildings were almost on top of each other and spread out in all directions for as far as the eye could see. The hotel looked pretty much like one we would have at home. I knew that this classic tour would have more budget-friendly hotel rooms, so I was pleasantly surprised with our room. It was a bit older and a bit outdated, but it was functional and was going to be just fine for the next few days. The view when I opened the curtains was breathtaking and unlike anything I'd seen before. The white stone buildings seemed to go on forever. And then there was that call to prayer, which echoed across the 7 hills of Amman like something in a dream. This would come to be our wake-up call, as well as a signal that the day had come to an end. The coming days would take me on an unexpected journey in the best possible way. Yes, we were probably safer than we were at home, and the issue of safety left my mind entirely. No, I wasn't too old, and in fact, I was closer to the average age of the ladies in our group. Yes, I was in good enough shape, and I even took an opportunity to push myself physically by walking the 850 steps from the treasury to the monastery in Petra. On our travels, the bus stopped about every hour for bathroom breaks, and there were bathrooms at every location we visited. This was never an issue. So, what did we do? We learned about history. That guy right there, that's Ivan.
Now try to imagine this place, how this place looked like 2,000 years ago.
He's one of G's CEOs, which stands for Chief Experience Officer, and he's one of the best. He had a way of sharing information with us that made it both interesting and meaningful, and he also answered all of our questions and encouraged us to ask him anything.
Do we know what were the three main items back in the old days? Three main items. Spices from India, salt from China, and frankincense. Frankincense. 1 gram of frankincense back in the old days values 2 grams of gold nowadays.
This is guys the map you're going to see inside the church on the floor. I say the church itself is quite new. But when I say 6th century AD, I'm talking about the Mosaic map. Unfortunately, we're still using plastic bags that we're going to stop June 1st. No more plastic bags. So what you have to do, you take the bag, you put your food in the bag, and you will weigh it right there. See this counter here? You need to put the price on it, and then you pay.
He took us to a local supermarket to learn how Jordanians live today, what food they eat, the cost of living, and for us to pick up some local treats. Some treats that interested me the most happened to be a little less local. Is that raspberry Kit Kat?
Yeah.
Crumble, hazelnut crunch. You know what I like? Look how little they are.
Yeah. Just a little.
Just enough, right?
This is a variety of Kit Kats here.
I know. We did the obligatory float in the Dead Sea. We explored the capital, Amman, and blended into everyday life there.
Wow. Smell that spice?
Yeah.
On the right way?
And we ate.
Baba ganhamos pushing. Next hummus. Next hummus.
Yeah, we ordered a lot of it.
Oh wow. French fries.
There you go.
Hummus.
More hummus.
Hummus. Ja, was heißt aber Sabot? Aber Sabot das.
The food in Jordan was delicious, but just when I thought that I'd eaten the very best meal ever, I tried something new, and that became the best meal. And we experienced how G gives back.
But the main goal now to include as much people as we can to give them opportunities for work. And the funny thing now, many men, despite of the very strong culture, this is very strong culture here. Women, they don't work. They started to come to Mr. Abbott asking jobs for their wives. Could you please find a job for my wife? Can she do anything? You know what I mean? And also, they started to bring their children to the place, so they started to interact with our travelers, so they learn English. The ladies you're gonna meet, they started without a single word in English. Now they speak English.
Ayman taught us about his Bedouin culture and showed us things that we had just never seen before.
This is your dinner.
Yeah.
This is a soap. So the Bedouins, when they travel in the desert, they find this bush and they collect it and they keep it with them. As you saw, it's a little water, yeah? And they clean themselves this way.
We entered Petra at 6 a.m. and got to experience it differently than most people ever do. I climbed the 850 steps from the treasury to the monastery in Petra and had a little cry at the top. That day I logged over 24,000 steps and 64 flights of stairs, something that I wouldn't have been physically able to do just a year before.
It's pretty freaking incredible, let me tell you.
We spent an afternoon on a luxury yacht and snorkeled in the Red Sea, seeing a plane and a tank at the bottom of the water. We spent the night in the desert in rooms with tented ceilings, and we encountered some of the local wildlife. Fortunately, it wasn't the dangerous kind, but it sure got our attention, and our reaction to it was a perfect example of what poor Ayman had to deal with all week, dealing with a group of just ladies.
Scorpion.
It's. He almost got it. It is a scorpion. It is. Get it. Oh my goodness. It's a scorpion.
Yeah, look at it. Shit, it is.
We went to the desert and watched the sunset. It's one of the most magical things that I've ever done. So I just wanted to show you guys I'm doing exactly what I said I would do. Sitting here on a sand dune, and I am watching the sunset in the Wadi Rum Desert. I've seen some Insta videos that talk about when you're traveling alone and no one really knows who you are and you sort of have the freedom to be yourself. And I feel like I felt that this week. This trip has just been unbelievable for me. Being so far from home, not only in distance, but culture and food and everything has just been so different. And I think I'm just at a place in my life where I have that openness to just accept it and be curious and learn from it, and also be able to turn the camera back on myself, literally, and see how it reflects in me. And being out in the desert is just crazy still and serene, and it's beautiful. And as for my roommate, we were a great match. And did I fit in? Not only did I feel like I fit in, but our group chat is still going strong, and these ladies have now become friends. We shared so many laughs together that when we all landed home, the common question in our group chat was, did I just dream that, or did it actually happen? And is it just me, or are you guys also struggling to find a word that describes last week adequately? Amazing is just not good enough.